What's up, Instagrams, YouTubes, people on Zoom? I'm Yogi Chris, IMC captain and historian, streaming to you about the IMC process here from Eden House, the main base where I live with seven other IMC guys. AZD, the guy who you follow on these accounts or whatever, with all the tattoos, he comes here to this house for streams, and this is where we do all the coordinating. The camps happen here, and this is where we get to go out with this guy. So, who is this guy? Every time I got to introduce it because you may not know, new people are joining all the time. You're following this account because there's clips of this tattooed guy spitting wisdom that you found somehow on your For You page or someone shared it to you or for whatever reason you searched the hashtag alpha relationships, this and that. And this is the epitome of that. AZD is the apex of game, actual game. Like one of the guys was telling me, you got to get his money right. And when he gets his money right, then he'll be able to relax when we go out and talk to women. He won't have to be worrying about money. And it's like, that's the opposite of game. You want that for sure, but you got to overcome the money bullshit. That can't be affecting you because it's just going to be a cushiony crutch. When you get to a place where you have a woman, there's going to be uncomforts there that are more than the discomfort of the money. And it's just a preparation for that, just like the cold shower and the wake up. And that's what I was going to tell everybody about was the IMC process. So I only know what I know about, and there's a few things I know about that, I did in my life. And so I was actually going to start with growing marijuana, so growing marijuana, and then wrestling, and then probably like uh, PhD. I have a PhD in engineering. So first, growing marijuana. It's amazing because when I grew pot, I had smoked really, really good pot up until that point in my life. I was a lot younger than I am now. Just turned 39. So this is like 15 years ago or so. And I got books. I didn't look up videos, I don't recall. I knew some people and they recommended a book, and then I got another book. So I had two books basically. And it was amazing that just the processes that it taught in the book, which I was rudimentary at, I had to makeshift things. I didn't have the exact equipment. I didn't like it was amazing. My commitment level was like stellar, but at the same time, I was like a lazy fuck and like didn't follow through in the best way in all aspects of it. But like I innovated, my own way of doing things. Ended up with like aeroponics and hydroponics and whatever after just a few years. But if you follow the recipe, you get something like the results. I really didn't think I would get good ganja at the end of that, especially with I started with dirt genetics, and I made something of it. It was amazing, just following the process that I knew nothing about when I started. And habits, the right habits is what I was going to talk about in the IMC Beast process. The it's more than a routine, but it's like a routine and it's a way of living, a way of perceiving your own life that AZD has given us from his perspective. He's on top of the mountain and has a certain perspective, a map, a lay of the land of what's the best path up here? Because he's looking down, don't go this way. There's some obstacles ahead that you don't know. Like he's gone up and down the mountain so many times, and so he gives us the process. And we learn it and live by it. And it's like growing weed. You just put the right habits in place, and something like the result will come out at the end. And then you just have to tweak, like, oh, maybe I put too much, the water was too acidic, or the soil got depleted, or the light was on too long, or so, you adjust these variables. And then it's the same thing I was going to talk about wrestling, right? You like when we opened the fight center. One of the first things I'm going to emphasize for myself is a lot of solo conditioning work because I can feel where my joints are at, and I want to be able to train without getting hurt, unnecessarily. Hurts happen, injuries happen, but it doesn't need to be because my own body weakness and I turn an angle too fast or whatever, too strong for my own good, or who knows, old man strength. So you can jerk really strong, but that joint might not be like all there for that. So the right foundations. When I was wrestling, the first 2 weeks were so much stance work. So like the first practice of the season, always in high school anyway. It was beyond that in college, but in high school, 2 hours of stance, like moving in your stance, changing your levels, and it's like, but that's the foundation. Because how are you going to do anything else in wrestling if you don't have the stance? And it's probably like that in a lot of martial arts. You need the stance. When you have the right habits there, you still go back and tweak the variables. Just like with the pot growing, you tweak your stance. You can maybe step it a little too close as you get to higher levels or different styles of wrestling around the country and the world or whatever, you learn to tweak your stance and your footwork to be invulnerable, just impervious, so light-footed, so just out of reach of their hands or arms, but still enough under you that you have propulsion forward. You're finding that just thin line that's the sweet spot, and you're doing that in all positions, everything. But it starts with foundational positions that you build the detailed positions on. Some guys will go right to the funk, right to the chaotic movements, and they can gain advantage over lesser wrestlers that are not familiar with chaotic positions. But against someone that has solid foundations, they won't even get to that position because they are so vulnerable. They haven't worked on the foundations. And then, a PhD, blah, blah, blah. That's so out of reach, really, and out of reality for most people. It's like you just don't, it's just letters to you. Like, even if you knew what it was. But because if I said master's degree, you would again, it's so out of reach of everybody. I don't talk to anybody that went to college. So it's like you have maybe an idea of a master's degree. It's just school, school, school. Like it is, but it's amazing how deep certain people have gone into certain subjects and then gotten the validation of many other people. So it's like the science deepens. And so it's like deeper and deeper in whatever subject, however twisted it is and warped out of reality. But it's a lot of organized thought that you go into further. So imagine a bachelor's degree. That's what most people go to college for. So even from there, you would see you need like decent high school. I wasn't good in high school, but like was just fucking smart, but like had terrible. I don't know how. Anyway, but it's still subjects are built on each other. You could go all the way back to just like algebra and arithmetic and times tables. The faster you are at times tables, the better you'll get at math later on. Maybe because it lays down the wiring and the right pattern recognition. But definitely, you'll get frustrated and slow when you deal with a lot of symbols and things in math if you're not fast at the basic symbols, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, minus, plus, times, divide. Like, and so many combinations of that, the numbers can get so big. The faster you get with that, the more of that you lay down, it builds to algebra, it builds to trigonometry, it builds to whatever. And if you don't have those foundations, like one day I missed long division in fourth grade or something, and I just missed that day, and that's the day she taught long division. And for whatever reason, she never had to teach it again, or I wasn't, sometimes we kind of tune out. Maybe I was tuned out and just missed it because I see how people miss things that I say, and I'm like, bro, I've said this like three times, and I was like, I go at it at like a bunch of angles. I get, acknowledgement, confirmation. It's like I make them repeat it to me. It's like, bro, you still didn't get what I said. Where is this communication? So I was probably that. Maybe I was taught long division 300 times and I don't remember any of them. But it seems to me I missed that day in school. And it was really frustrating for some time. I forget when. Think it was like sixth or seventh grade. Somehow somebody, I don't even know, but I remember asking and like I learned it and it was easy. But I just missed the explanation of it. So it's like one page of the user's manual was missing. And it's like you just miss how to use the buttons or something. So, but you get the foundations and then it builds. And if you don't have the foundations, it's hard to build. And what you do build, will have, warped foundations because you'll just connect dots to try to makeshift it. You'll patch it up. And so AZD's given us a process that you do these habits day after day after day. You are like a garden. Change the ingredients, change the inputs. And everybody resonates with that because it's true. But I mean, you have your own ideas about what that is. And like I was telling one of the guys here, in an Eastern sense, at least I get the sense that this is an Eastern sense that I have. Meaning, like at some point, this soul, known as I, Yogi Chris, was in a body in the East. Well, is called the East. To the East, I don't know what they call themselves. They were the East, I don't know. India. And what was I saying right there? Oh, in an Eastern sense. So I have a sense of that. In an Eastern sense, when you find a master or a masterful guru or just an expert that's what you want. And mind you, many, many years ago in India, it might be overpopulated, but it's still like, uh, life was a lot different. Imagine when the population, like 80 years ago, the population of the planet was like one fourth what it is now. So imagine everything that you got going on around you, but just with 25% of the people. You're like a ghost town. Like, what was life like 100 years ago? It was not a lot of human interactions like they are now. And so in an Eastern sense, when somebody has what you want, you just kind of give up everything to get it. Or you're in a kind of limbo where you don't know what priorities are in life. But I mean, now more than ever, because in ancient times in our DNA, the man knew what he was going to be doing. I mean, you're at least you're doing whatever you're doing now. Maybe I guess it changes if you find something better or get promoted or something. But like you don't have until you're 28 to figure out what you want to do. And we all do that. I mean, that's part of the reason why I was a master's student PhD. I didn't know what else I wanted to do with my life. I found something so entertaining as a subject, and then I got discouraged by it, like most subjects. The only subject that didn't discourage me was guitar. Man, I love that guitar. And I was only inspired. Maybe I didn't get to the level, but I was like all things. I mean, I don't waste my time for 10 years. I was at a good level with that. But wrestling, like it all, game hasn't, but I'm still in the game. I'm out of guitar. I'm out of wrestling. I'm out of PhD. Like I'm talking about things that I'm out of. I'm out of growing weed. So let me take a sip here. And yoga doesn't disappoint as a subject, but the teachers all do. Maybe that's what it was about the wrestlers. The teachers all did. The PhD, the teachers all did. The music didn't. I didn't have high expectations of them, other than they were amazing with music, which they were. So, maybe I would have gotten disappointed in them. Because at the end of the day, it's all about social interactions. Like I saw one of the, recognize one of these names. We were talking about it. Like that's what you're doing in life. So you got to start changing the soil sooner because man, in the future, the climate will be perfect, the rain will be perfect, the sunlight will be perfect, but the plant won't be ready because you planted it too late or you weren't watering it properly in the beginning because you had to save that time to do water something else or do something else, clean the bathroom. So the plant needed water in the beginning. Later, when you have all the water in the world, the plant hasn't grown. And then you'll be frustrated, then you'll waste your water trying to grow, then you'll kill the plant because you'll just inundate it with water. So you spend all that time building a water tub to accumulate water instead of tending to the plant every day. Plant needed attention every day, unless you're a cactus. But it's not attractive. Cactuses are repulsive, except to like insects or something, even then. So, uh, any questions on that? We got a guy on Zoom talking. Comments. Guys on Instagram, I should invite more conversation if you want to talk game. I'm the guy that runs a lot of the programs here in IMC Nation. Like I help organize the guys that come and learn with AZD. So at some point, all the guys that lived here in Vegas didn't live in Vegas, including myself and AZD. We moved here to train with this guy who's the top player on earth. Maybe I didn't do that intro justice, honestly. I just said he was, but multiple girlfriends, all tens, for many years, so maybe that's all I just need to say. But I lived with him for 4.5 years, and it's as real can be. So I'm just a student, inner circle student, top level student, but just a student working on my own game, training with him, going out as often as possible, 3 or 4 nights a week, and helping guys get here to see a reference for what the top player is like. Because it's just like you and me, and yet it's nothing like you and me. It would be like an actor on stage that's doing some incredible scene that you could see yourself doing. It's physically possible for you to do it, but the range and the composure and the certainty, the embodiment where they're just so in the role and they won't break character and they're in it and they deliver amazing. If you've ever seen an amazing actor, it would be like that, where it's possible for you, but man, now get there. Now do that. How do you do that? So, it's that, but beyond, because the actor is still playing a role that they have to shake off and go back to their real life. Maybe they're improved in their life by whatever roles they do, and good. So they're integrated like that. But ultimately they're going to drop the role. Now, if you lived a role where you were living the role, like you'd wake up maybe slightly out of character because you're like little boy version of you, and then you wake up, oh yeah, I'm fucking, and maybe at some point you don't. You are that. You wake up right into the role. What's the role? Well, you're a worker bee, you're a Costco, you're a trader, you're a uh, whatever, you're a dad, like whatever role, but none of those are attractive. So what do you wake up into? What role do you put on and embody? And then live your whole life by it. And then why is that even worthwhile besides just the, fucking toying with my own imagination is Game. Women. Because you're doing all your jobs and this and that, money and saving and rearranging and everything you're doing in life. Are you not doing it because you want the relationship of your dream? Are you not on the stream because you like this information because it deals with relationships and you suck? You fail with relationships? But the answers are here. We have a better way. It's frames of mind that organize your social interactions in alignment with your power as a man, and at the same time, personal disciplines that activate your energy as a man as you channel that energy into the right ways of thinking, perceiving, acting. It becomes power, energy, and motion. Okay, so I lost where I was going with that. So ask a question. If you guys got it, I invite you. We'll just go another 10 minutes. Anybody on Instagram, TikTok, talk game. Oh yeah, so this guy with so much game. He's just got so much game. It's ridiculous. It's beyond scripts or any kind of memorized lines. It's not that kind of game. What kind of game is it? It's character. You're in a role and you don't drop the role because the role, like you know that role on the stage that was so impressive. You're watching it and it was like wow, it's moving you. Like imagine the most moving scene that you've seen in a movie, and imagine you're there on set, like watching it. Yeah, thank you, Prince. So that scene that you're watching, the actor in the role, imagine it's a deep scene of pickup and seduction, a courtship somehow between a man and a woman. You're watching the scene, and it's like moving you, and you're like, wow, and you laugh even. And it's like maybe you shed it, like who knows? But you go through all the emotions, and it's real, raw, deep, powerful. Some real chemistry's happening, but they're acting, right? They're acting. It's hard to act real love scenes or real romance moments. I mean, it's got to be well written, well acted, and everything. And so now that's great. Now don't drop the character. The guy doesn't drop the character. He just, there's another girl and another scene and another girl and another scene. And then at some point, two or three of the girls are there at the same time. And what the fuck is that? What is happening? ¿Qué está pasando aquí? I don't know if I said that right. So it's a real love story, real actor that's really, it's got to be moving, man, because we're not acting. We're not on a movie set. It can't be faked. It's really their romantic lives, their decisions in life. You know what your decision. So he's got seven girlfriends or whatever. Each one of those women made that decision, and it's a continuous, ongoing decision day after day, just like you with any other relationship. So, guys, doing it, movie scene after movie scene, constantly being in character, never dropping the character. Well, that'll make you go psycho if you're being fake. You better get it aligned. Better get your character aligned with what? Yourself and results in the game. The women have to like it, but you got to be true to you. So, how do you do that? Well, is there not a way to express yourself poetically? Is there also not a way to express yourself like dirt and just like no poetry at all, no finesse, just clunky, caveman language? You can express yourself in a range of ways, and it's still which one was false? Arguably, the dumber way is more and more false because it's less and less refined. How accurate could it be? But just because it's more verbose doesn't make it more true, just makes it fancier. Sometimes people submit to language just because it's fancy, just like they submit to somebody just because they're loud. But what are they really saying? So there's a way to express yourself more aesthetically, which probably is more true, but definitely more aesthetic. And aesthetic is what attracts. So how can you be you, attract a woman, be a character? You're going to be a character anyway. Right now, you're being the character of Worker Bee. Like Dylan Hoffman just joined for a second. I know he hates hearing my voice because sent some strong messages, brother. You got to change. You got to change your habits. You missed the whole first half of the talk. That's why you got to be on Zoom. That's why you got to be on Telegrams. So if I kick you off the Telegrams, that's why you got to respond. Like you just got. I'll kick you off the Instagrams too. I'll kick you off the newsletter. You can find AZD circuitously. I've made it easy for you to find AZD, and all I ask is that you communicate. You just got if I send you a message. That's it. Nothing more. If you can't reply, bro, then you can't be around. Because I'm filtering for guys that are capable of getting here and doing that. If I wanted it to be impersonal, I'd create a little click funnel with some impersonal persuasive dialogue that we never have to interact. And I'd sell you something like $7, $17 $47, $97, maybe some upsells, put it together, get a bunch of customers, and have to run ads and whatever. Just get a completely impersonal VSL business, whatever they call that. I don't know how I know that term. I don't even know what that stands for, but I think that's accurate what it is. Versus what this is, which is take some real clips from some real lectures that AZD's done, one of 3,000 lectures in the last 6 years or something, and just take some clips from those and give it to you for free. Put some hashtags on it so new people can find it. You guys find it, we communicate. I stream, we communicate. I text and message and call, and we communicate. And it's the real thing. You feel the truth in what AZD's clips are saying, what he's saying in these clips. And his personal Instagram or TikTok, his personal TikTok is in the bio. So you just go right there, see the, whoa, girlfriend, 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 girlfriends. And then here I am filling you in on, the information to connect the dots. Those are his girlfriends. Many of them for many years, some of them for less years. All knowing about each other, most or all of them hanging out at some point with each other in just a bunch of righteous monogamous relationships, but with one guy. Tried and true, tested. A lot of chaos has been tested. A lot of more girlfriends have come and gone that didn't make the cut. Like over 30. It's like the top 10% of them stuck around. So there's a lot of beautiful women, a lot of experience, and there's a lot of wisdom. And then there's the guys here that have moved here just to train with this guy. And we're not like on a whim moving here. We had a bunch of other stuff going for ourselves in life, as you should as a man. And if you don't, then we've got to start. You could try to come to Vegas, but you're still going to have to provide for yourself. So, isn't that right, Albert? Okay, cool. We got Albert, Dylan, these guys, IMC Nation. Dang, what is that? That's the Simba, right? Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up. I just got 4 more minutes. I don't sense any questions coming. You guys got anything? Give it 20 seconds because I know there's a lag. Salute, Albert Space. What's up? That's too bad you missed this camp, bro. That's a travesty. That is a travesty. I am doing something super, super fucking special because I just had to. It was right there and I had to do it. And it was, I clicked the setting on Zoom so that the video gets transcribed. And rarely I run the recordings anyway. AZD usually as gatekeeper does it, but so I ended up running the stream for whatever reason. They get deleted after 48 hours. But I have the transcription, which is long as fuck. It's like 180 pages or something for each lecture. So I put it into ChatGPT and synthesized it. And then I edited it and shit. And so there's some ebooks that synthesize the whole talk, everything he taught. It's incredible. It's a really good refresher when I'm reading it. I'm like, this is amazing because it's AI language on the exact things that were said. And it's a pretty accurate transcription. So, quick read. Probably sell that as an ebook. I'll check with AZD about, probably like $30 or something, $27. It's very potent. And there's one more talk tomorrow. So you can get on it before it's done and just watch the actual recordings. 497. 497 for tribal attraction. It's a last minute pitch. You guys get it if you want. It's amazing language. Changed my life, and it's going to continue changing my life because it planted foundations of understanding language, intention, and how images and language are connected, and how my own body, physical energy, and enthusiasm is connected with the images and the words of my life and just being more intentional and cutting or discerning with my awareness about what ideas I'm entertaining, what words I'm using to express myself, what words they're using to express themselves, and who are they and who am I and what's this energy between us. Being discerning that they're all very different things that I just said all come together in an equation of communication and social dynamics. And so mastery of that is what we're doing, and AZD's teaching cutting edge because he's at the cutting edge. He's not like an old player teaching game. He's the best in the world for the last 12 years running or whatever, and still teaching his innovations. That's why sometimes it's hard for guys. It's so out of reality, so far evolved from where you're at. It'd be looking at alien tech and just not even knowing what it is. Be looking at one of these trees that has all these 5G antenna on it and thinking it's just a tree, but you look at it closer and it's like, I think that's an antenna. That's AZD's game. It's like, it doesn't even look like game. But then you just see the women so beautiful orbiting him for so long. Oh, and then women coming in, slingshotting out, new women staying. Quite a fucking solar system going on there. An internal ecosystem with amazing bit. Like if you zoom in on it, it makes more and more sense. You just have to be inspired as a man to want to learn real game for life. the real game for a real life that gets real results with real gorgeous women, really at multiple levels, the best in the world. If that's motivating for you, then you got to start. The longer you wait, and it's at what level. So you could be coming and doing residency, but if you're not doing messengers, it's you're delayed on that. So you do it when you can, but what can you do is often limited by our own governor because it's possible. It's more possible than you think. It's just a willingness. But if you knew it was the solution to your ailment, and your ailment is character flaw, character fatigue, character, it's just undeveloped. So you're playing a role in life in a character that's just not going to make it. You're going to have to change your character. And to what? You can try to piece it together from 1,000 sources. You can even try to get it all from AZD as a source. But that's where I'll show you the rabbit hole that the highest level or the most refined, subtle, deepest quantum at all levels alignment available is the messengers because it's the highest disclosure. Aligning your character to your most charming, influential, attractive self is setting forth a lot of karmic ripples that's going to change Earth. When you change, you're going to change everyone around you and your interactions with them. If you got evil, if you got weakness, if you got corruption, perversion, you're not going to be a vessel for it, or you'll be a destructive vessel for it. That's the responsibility of the teacher. So it costs money. If it's not worth it to you, then the result is also not worth it to you. Or you were in it for some other reasons. Most people are not in it for wicked reasons, but that's why it costs. Because if it was freely given, it would also create a lot of damage. It's literally the gift of being your most powerful, aligned, congruent character of yourself. Powerful is influential in this sense. Powerful as a human, you get to influence. The more people you can influence, the more powerful you are. Your influence comes from your charms and your abilities to influence, which are always going to break if you're misaligned with your core values. Because you'll be a snake, you'll be two-faced, and you'll break character at some point under certain stress. But if you're aligned with your character, then you won't break that character because that's your character, unless you get like slapped into being somebody else. But under regular duress, you're gonna be aligned. And then it's just about you developing your communication in alignment with your character. And that's where AZD as a communication specialist just facilitates that like you wouldn't believe. Lifetimes worth of evolution in your ability to express in a way that gets influential results. But that's the tech of influence. You need the character to embody the tech if you want long-term success. Otherwise, you'd be a pickup artist learning pickup lines, crashing later because you learned the tech, but the character was misaligned. You could be all into inner. First of all, you'll never align your character if you don't align it with game. It's just not. It's not possible because that's where you plug into life. Or you have to be a monk in the forest or the mountains or something, and it'd be totally awkward. And you better be fully committed to that because if you have 99.9% commitment, that little bit is going to be a cancer that sends that person deeper into the illusions of life than anybody else. He's going to slingshot so far into the matrix by trying to get that far out of the matrix in spirituality. Capiche? Capiche, everybody? Okay. Nobody wants to stream. Dang. Frederick Alberto, Messengers. IMC Nation, Messengers. Armando Vargas, you're already on Messengers. And then everybody else. Hope you enjoyed it. I got to get going. I thought it was pretty good, but I could keep going. I just, need to do more value-added things, right? So always be value-added. Disperse your day. Have variety. Keep your attention on it. On what? On the task at hand. By giving yourself variety, you refresh yourself. Refresh yourself. And then, Armando, you got to be on the beast process. Everybody be on the beast process. Prince, if you're not in the beast process, you're a bitch. If you're already beast process, then there's hope. Be the best. Fuck the rest, everybody. Os.